Okay, hi everyone. Welcome once again to Academia. And for today, we are going to talk about MATLAB Plots. So in MATLAB Plots, we are going to try and um, figure out how to plot MATLABs using variables that contains vector matrices and matrix um, variables that has matrices, then to be able to label and plot its title and legends and edit the graphs. Then we are also going to learn how to plot and display multiple data sets on one graph. Then we're going to determine line styles and colors, then graph imaginary and complex data, then subplots and create mesh and surface plots. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on to it. Okay, so let's try first to plot variables or plot vectors regardless if it's a column vector or a row vector. So first, let's create a row vector. Okay, let's create a random numbers. So let's say 50 points. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. This is a column vector. Okay. Anyways, regardless, let's try to plot this data. So how would we plot in MATLAB? So it's the command is very easy. You just type plot, then encapsulate the variable inside these parentheses, then just click enter. So there we go. So as you can see here, MATLAB plot the graph or plot the variable using a line graph, meaning that these line graphs, as you can see, are, if you can see the endpoints or the points that are or have edges, are basically the data points that were plotted or the data points in our variable x. Okay, so if you would just use your mouse, then carefully hold or position your mouse on the tip or the data points, you can see the values that was plotted through MATLAB or plotted from your variables. Okay, so if you may ask, what is the x-axis? Basically, the x-axis refers to your number of sample points. So if you can see here, this is 1 to 50. So your variable is, or your x-axis limit is up to 50. Then MATLAB also auto scales, meaning um, it normalizes the values to the minimum up to the maximum. So, but for this case, we have a values of decimals from basically our limit is from 0 to 1. Okay, so our graph was normalized from 0 to 1. Okay, so if you may ask, can we plot a row vector? Yes, we can do. So let's try transposing or converting this column vector to a row vector. If you may remember, to transpose a column or a column vector to a row vector, you just apply this quotation mark. Okay, so it's vice versa. So let's try to plot it again. Okay, there we go. As you can see, we we have produced the same output. Okay, so let's try to add labels to our plot. Okay, so in order to do that, um, what you need to do is type this command x label. Okay, then parentheses, then you add these opening and closing quotation marks, and inside you type what you want. For my case, I want here to say samples. Okay, then let's look at the graph. So there we go. We have here samples on our x-axis. Then for our y-axis, just type y label. Then let's create a pseudonym. So random uh, numbers. Okay, so here we go. As you can see, the y label was had the label. Then the title, just type title. Then generated random numbers. Okay, there we go. As you can see, you easily created a plot using Matlab. Okay. Then what if I want to plot the data? Then its data points would be marked like, for example, I would mark the data points where the data points were plotted. Like, for example, for this case. Okay, let me just close this one, then plot. Okay. So you can see here, okay, ang ginawa ko sa command ko is I created a dash line, then an asterisk. So what does this imply? So the implication of this command after the comma is that I want to plot the data using a line plot, then the data points would have an asterisk on its points. As you can see, every point has an asterisk on it. So yun yung purpose niya. So can I change that? Yes, you can. Actually, you can. You can browse MATLAB and try different line styles and markers that would um, best fit your plot or best explain your graph. So MATLAB has a wide or has large samples on how you can implement different types of line styles. Okay, you can also change the color. Just um, find out in your MATLAB directory or documentation on the letters that would correspond to certain colors. So do we have here the basics? We have R for red, then K for black. There we go. Then we also have blue. Okay. Then we also have, I think, cyan. Okay, there we go. Then green, etc. So I leave that up to you. If you have questions, then go to Google, then try to Matlab Plots. Then just go to this link. Then as you can see here, MATLAB gave us the full documentation of its or types of MATLAB plots. Then click the plot. Okay. Then just scroll down. Then as you can see here, they produced different types. So I leave that up to you to further explore the plot functions of MATLAB. Okay, I'll just do the basics for now so that you'll have a starting knowledge on how to plot data from MATLAB. So let's go back. Okay, so here we have the, let me just, I like the default plot for MATLAB. The default color is this. I forgot the name, but I like this color as my default. Okay. So let's try to create another data. Okay. Okay. So I created another raw vector that contains another random number. So let's just say that I want to plot y, the variable y, on my initial figure here. Okay, so how do I do that? First, you need to type hold on. Okay, what does this command do? This holds the figure for you not to create another window. So I'll show this to you. I'll turn it off first. Then let's say plot y. Okay, as you can see, the initial figure disappeared. So what you have to do is type hold on. Let me close this first. Hold on. Then let's plot x. Okay, there we go. Then I'll just type this box on. So if you can see here, the figure is not encapsulated or is not bounded by a box, or it has no border. So typing box on would have borders, would implement borders in it. Then you can also type grid on. This creates a grid on your plot. Okay. So since I've already typed plot on, let's try to plot y now. So y, then let's do a different marker. Okay, so I try this dot. Okay, there we go. As you can see here, oh, it's not good. It's not a good plot. Let me try another one. Let's check for other markers. Okay, here we go. We have the list here. So we have circle, plus sign, asterisk, point, cross, etc. So just go to the link that I've showed you earlier. Then you can check what you want. Oh, so the graph turned out as it is because of my line style na dash dot line. So what I did was wrong. So if we close this again, then try to plot. Changing the marker and line style. So that I want to incorporate the cross. So let's change this to X. Then there we go. Okay. So what we did here is create or plot two graphs into one plot. Okay. So suppose I want to name each color. So there's the legend. Okay. Then to label. Okay. Si MATLAB, pag nagle-label ka ng legend, kung sino mo unang plot, siya yung una niyang lalagyan ng legend or yung name ng legend. So let's say the first legend should be X random numbers or X random, then place a comma, then Y random. Okay, there we go. So yung color at yung marker mo, nilagay na rin niya sa legend mo. So hindi ka mahihirapan. So let me just add the grid on again. There we go. Then to finalize, let's use the X label, Y label, and title. Then here we have a plot. Okay. So suppose I want to change the limits of my axis. So how would I do that? So for example, for the x-axis, I would place x lim, x limit, then parentheses, then brackets inside, then place the first number, let's say for 0, then 50. Okay, so 0 to 50. Then for my y lim, it's 0 to 1. Okay, there we go. As compared to earlier, that 0 was missing, so you can change it. Okay, I'm sorry. So it started in 1, so let's change the limit to the x limit to 1 to 50. Yeah. Okay. Paano nag-start yung point sa edge? Kasi kanina, 0 to 50, may gap. So kaya ginawa natin 1 to 50. Yeah. Okay. So if you may ask, can I change the tick labels? Yes, you can. So how would I do that? So x tick, meaning these are the markers or the numbers that is in the x-axis. So from 0, 5, 10, 15, let's say I want to change that to 1, then 50, 0, then let's say 10. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the command. Okay, I think it should be like this. Okay, there we go. So there shouldn't be any quotation marks. Sorry for that. Okay, there we go. So that is not pleasant. Let's try putting 1. However, it started with 1, then increments of 10 to 50. So it's not good. So if we try 1, here, there we go. We enlisted all the sample or the x-axis. So if you may ask, what does this do? So 0, colon 1, colon 50 works like this. The first one is the start, then colon, the increments. For example, for this case is 1, then the end is 50. Okay. So that's how x ticks. You can also change x ticks. 0, then 0 0.2, 1. Okay, there we go. So our x tick change. Okay. Okay. So I'll give you time. Try to review the video and explore it on your own. So you'll be able to further incorporate the plot edits to your graphs. Okay. Sige. Okay. Now let's try to call a file or plot something that is coming from a file. Okay, let me clear this first. Okay. So if you would pay attention, I have here on my current folder a set of files that I want to plot. Okay. So if you would look at this as a normal text, so you can right click the file, then open as text. Then here we go. MATLAB is, this is like a notepad for MATLAB. Okay. So I want to check first if this data or this file can be read or is accessible by MATLAB. So there's a command called fopen. Okay, then inside it, parenthesis and a quotation mark, I would like to um, copy the name and put it here, then enter. Okay, so here he returned a value of 4. It just basically means that MATLAB can see and can read the contents of the file. But if the value is -1, meaning it's either he can't read it or it's not in a current directory. Okay. Anyways, so as you can see earlier, this is a delimited folder by file. I'm sorry. When I say delimited, it has this criteria, or it is um, spaced by a certain marker. For my marker, it's a space, so it could be a dash line, a period, etc. But for my delimiter here is the space. So since this is a delimiter or delimited file, you can use the command dlmread, then copy the file inside or enter the file name inside, then click enter. As you can see on the top upper menu bar, you can see that the plot has um, turned to a color. So this is all the available graphs that you have on MATLAB. Okay, so applying what we have learned earlier, let's try to plot something and the contents of this um, variable. So as you can see here, this is a matrix variable, or this is a variable containing a matrix. And here we have here certain data. So let me just explain what are the data here. So on my first column, I have here the year. So this is 15, so 2015. Then on my second column, we have here the DOY, meaning the day of the year. 75 is around March 14 or 16, I forgot. I think it's 16. Then on my third column, this is the in seconds. It's incremented for every 60 seconds. So basically, this is a minute data, 0 to 60. However, this is in seconds. Then on my fourth is the data I want to plot. Okay. If you would ask what is this NAN, so meaning it's just a um, blank data or data that was removed. Okay. So how do we plot this data? So we are interested on plotting the fourth column, or I want to plot the fourth column against the third column, meaning in seconds. So how would I do that? So just create plot, okay? Then call the variable. Then what would I want? This I want to plot a column vector. So meaning, remember that MATLAB, or when you call a matrix, it should be in an m by n form. Okay, meaning what row and what column. Okay, so we know that I want to plot the column number 3. Pero ano ba si row? Simply, I want to plot everything on, I want to plot every row. So just place this colon mark. I'm sorry. This column mark. Okay, then put a comma, then against, or I want to plot the fourth column. Okay, so you can see here, I've, unlike earlier, bakit ganito yung nangyari? So, when you are plotting, pwedeng mag-plot ka lang ng isa. Okay, for this case, like this. Okay, so basically, pinat natin si 3, column 3, which is second. So, linear graph. Then, pwede ka rin mag-plot na isa. Okay. So, anong difference? So, pag nagpa-plot ka, then isang variable lang nilagay mo, automatic, MATLAB will plot with respect to the number of samples or points or column or row yung pinag-plot mo. Okay? So, as I've said kanina, gusto ko i-plot si column column 4 against kay column 3. So, ibig sabihin, si 4 is si Y, si 3 is si X. So, pag magpa-plot ka, okay, as you can see here on sa lumabas na help, palagay dyan X, Y. Okay? So, si X, which is si column 3 na gusto ko kanina, so tinuro ko na. And then si column 4. Ayan. Then, I want to change my line, or I want this to be a scatter plot. So just place this asterisk, or let's say dot, then press enter. There we go. So I have here a scatter plot, whereas my x-axis is in terms of seconds. So paano ko gagawin yun? So the proper way to do it is create a label. Kailangan i-label mo yung, always label your graphs. Okay, or let's say UT, meaning universal time in seconds. Okay, then Y label, let's just say data. Okay, then include this grid on, etc. Then I want to limit my X value with the last number, or last row na may value C4. So saan yun? Ito, sa 60. So ibig sabihin, 3540 yung x-axis ko. So xlim, that is from 0 to 3540. Yun. So nausog na siya. Okay, then let's just change the x-ticks. Okay, so from 0, let's say dahil 60 yan, masyadong malaki ang per minute. Magiging 60 data points. So hanap tayo ng number na medyo maganda. So 59. So hindi siya magandang number. Say divided by 50. Sorry. 3540. Hindi rin maganda. Saan kaya? So that's 8, 12, 60, 60. Hindi rin pwede. Anyways. Let's try 200 siguro. 20. Masyadong liit. Okay, anyways, let's just go with 60. 540. Hindi pala magbabago to. Ayan, so masyadong maraming data points. Mag-overlap na yung data mo. So hindi siya maganda. So this is 8640, meaning this is in one day. So ilang merong minutes sa isang araw? 3,600. So divided by 24, which is yung day in a year. 24. Okay, so pwede natin gawin to. It's 3, 6. Okay, what happened? Okay. So hindi pwede. Kasi ang limit natin is 3,540. Nag 3,6 na tayo. So babawasan natin. Wag 360. Dapat, let's say 5 minutes. So ilang merong 300. Okay, there we go. Much better. Okay. Then add the title. File or data on a file. Okay, there we go. Okay. So now let's try to do multiple plots in one, or multiple graphs in one plot. What do I mean by that? So for example, I have two figures that I want to be joined on one single plot, or one single window. So that command is what we call subplot. Okay, sorry. Okay, subplot is a special function in MATLAB where we can create an n by n matrix plot and position iba't ibang plots um, on each panel or each position. So paano natin gagawin yan? First, let's create a 2 by 2 matrix on a plot. Then, as you can see here, the P there earlier is what we call the position. So obviously, when you create a subplot, the first position is here. Okay, this is the first position, then second position, third position, fourth position. Okay, so regardless kung anong matrix ang gagawin mo or ilang size ng matrix ang gagawin mo, ang movement ng plot is from left to right. Then when it reach its last column, then pupunta siya sa baba, then pag ano, always on a Z pattern. Okay. Okay. So let's try to plot A, which is our first file on this panel. So I'll just copy the data that we used earlier. Okay, there we go. Let me change the limit, the Y limit, so that it will be pleasant. Say 0 to 4 or 5. Oh, sorry. And there we go. Then let's try to call on 3 more files. Just say, let's copy the command at A. Okay. Then name this B. Then call 5. What happened? Oh, it's reading, sorry. Then C. That's PRN 12. Then D, which is PRN 30. Okay. So, tinawag ko lang yung different ones. So, legend muna natin to. Legend PRN, oops, sorry, PRN 02. Okay, there we go. Then to transfer to the next position, just change the position due to. So ayun na C2. Okay. So just applying the same concept earlier, copy it, then change the variable to B. Change natin yung color. Let's try red. Okay, so we have a more scattered data. So let's copy the limit to perform uniformity. Okay, there we go. Legend PRN05. There we go. Okay. Then let's call on PRN12. Let's plot PRN12. That is C. So first we must change the subplot position to 3. And then just plot it again. P. Then change natin to C. Hindi natin pala need ito. C. Then let's change it to what color do we want? Let's say magenta. That's M. Okay, what happened? Oh, there's no data on 13. So let's try D first. Okay, there we go. So it appeared. So let's legend this as PRN. That's 40. Okay. Okay. Then let's call another file to replace C, which does not contain any data. So C, I'm sorry. Let's use 18. Okay, then let's try to plot. Sorry, let's first change the position. Yan, tapos dapat hindi magenta. I'm sorry. Let's try, let's say black. Okay, it's black format. Okay, there we go. Then legend, PRN, what did we call? That is PRN 18. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, we tried to plot different graphs on one plot using the subplot function. So it will be up to you to try to do this on your own and explore the kung ano yung na-discuss natin and try it on your own and try to use different files. Don't worry, I'll upload the files with corresponding to the plots that we used, so you can try and examine it. Okay. Now let's move on to complex numbers. Okay, now let's proceed to complex numbers. Okay, let's clear this. Okay. So first, let's try to create a set of complex numbers. So you can do this one. So 1 plus I would give me automatically a complex number. You can also use J. Doesn't matter, but let's keep things conventional. Let's use I for our samples. Okay. So Z2, let's say 2 plus 3I. Z3, let's create a negative 2 minus 7I. Then Z4, negative 3 plus I. Okay, so what happens if we try to plot one? Okay, so as you can see, there's nothing going on our plot. Why is that? Because this is not a complex plane. This is a real plane. So how would we plot in the complex plane? So what we are going to do is use, I'm sorry, I don't think you are seeing this. Okay, forgive me, sorry for that. So as you can see here on my panel here on the window, you cannot see any dots or any data. That's because we are not on the complex plane. This is the real plane. So how do we go from real plane to complex plane? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. When you type plot, you will type real, then the variable, then the imaginary, then also the variable, and the line style. For this case, I'll use the asterisks. Then enter. There we go. Okay, since this is a in complex plane and we only have plotted one value, of course the normalization would be on the center of the graph. Okay, so now let's try to plot the other variables or our other complex points. So type hold on, then just change the values. Okay, so there's the 2 points. So let's change that later. And let's just plot all points together. Okay, there we go. So can you see it? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's change the limits. Xlim, let's say from -5 to 5. Okay. Then the Y limit, let's change to -10 to 10. Okay, there we go. As you can see here, these are the dots. So let's label Y label to be the imaginary part. Then X label the real part. There we go. Okay, so that's how you plot complex numbers on Mac. Okay, on our last topic for today, we are going to plot a mesh or surface plot. Okay, so surface plots is a 3D plot. Okay, so first let's create a variable. Okay, let's create a this function x and y. Then let's create a values that are equal to each of x and y. So I'll introduce to you the command mesh grid. Okay, so mesh grid is mesh grid's role is to return a 2D grid coordinates based on the coordinates contained on what we are going to place inside the mesh grid. Okay, then so ibig sabihin pantay yung sizes ng matrix mo. Ganun ang paggawa ng or ganun ang ginagawa ni mesh grid. Okay, so for our example, let's create set of values as follows. Okay, first I want to create a um, I mean, my first variable or first data size or size is a number which starts at 1 and has an increment of zero point 0.5 up to the end 10. And the other, let's just say 1 to 20. You can see here, since 1 to 10 is 19 points, and 1 to 20 is 20. Then I have a complete set of 20 by 19 data points. So here's the 1 to 20, meaning yung the input here on mesh grid, the 1 to 20 is the column, the number of rows, and here is the number of columns. So this is 19 here, then x 19, then that's 20. So yung value sa x is yung value nitong mesh grid. So 1 to 1.5, 2 to 2.5. Ito yung may increment of 0.5. While si y is just 1 to 20. Okay. Now let's subject this to another variable. Let's create a command, sine x plus cosine y. Okay. So as you can see here, z contains the values that were calculated using this trigonometric functions. Okay, so let's try to plot the surface plot. Okay, so the command is very easy or is simple, like plot. Here we can type surf. Okay, the not surf na panlaba. Anyways, kidding aside, so the surf contains 3 inputs. That is x, y, z. Then press enter. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't deleted this earlier. Okay, there we go. So this is an example of a surface plot. As you can see here, the data points is from 0 to 10, then 0 to 20. Then the height is based on the minimum value that you are seeing on this figure, or I mean on this variable z. Okay, there we go. You can also pan this just by clicking this rotate 3D. Then you can do this. So if you look it in this way, you'll be able to see the area. And this one is also the area, and 3D vault. So what we saw earlier is like this when we plotted in the imaginary. It's like a plane. You can also tilt it in a manner of your liking. Then that's it. Okay. Remember, when you are using or you are plotting surface plots or contour plots, you need to take account the sizes of your variables. Remember, when you plot surfaces or contours, they must have all variables must have or contain the same sizes. Okay, there we go. So thank you for today. I hope you learned a lot using these surface plots and line plots, then using files to plot your data, and to the labels and line styles and all this. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next meeting. Thank you.